Hey there, and welcome to today's Explainer. If you are looking to transition your career right now, maybe you're a data scientist exploring project management, or an IT specialist who really wants more strategic impact, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're talking all about the business analyst. I want you to think of the modern business landscape as two massive land masses separated by this deep, turbulent river. On one side, you have the business strategy. On the other side, you have the technical engineering. The business analyst, or BA, is the master architect. They are the bridge builder who connects these two incredibly different worlds. Okay, let's dive into our structural blueprint for today. First, we'll cover bridging business and technology. Second, analytical skills, which are the foundation. Third, interpersonal skills, the connection. Fourth, technical and industry knowledge. And finally, solving real-world business problems.
All right, part one, bridging business and technology.
Now, before we look at the specific tools in the toolkit, we really have to understand the chasm in modern projects. Did you know a massive percentage of IT projects fail simply due to poor requirements? The business analyst is the ultimate translator hired specifically to prevent that from happening. It's a role fundamentally defined by its position right in the middle. You see, in any large-scale project, there is a very real danger of things getting lost in translation between what a business actually wants and how the tech team ends up building it. The BA is there to ensure that the requirements of the business are accurately, safely, and effectively translated into tangible solutions.
So why do things get lost in translation in the first place? Well, it's the sheer contrast in mindsets. Business stakeholders are focused entirely on performance, market trends, and revenues, right? They essentially speak the language of ROI. Technical teams, on the other hand, are focused on software, databases, and feasibility. They speak the language of code. The BA is hired to span this exact gap.
Moving to part two, analytical skills, the foundation. Every strong bridge absolutely needs a rock-solid foundation, and for the BA, that foundation is analytical. There are 5 main pillars to this skill set. First up is data analysis. That's the ability to collect and interpret data to spot trends. Next is problem solving and critical thinking, basically challenging conventional wisdom to develop innovative solutions. Fourth is decision making, which just means weighing the pros and cons to make sure you align with business objectives. And finally, risk management. Now, risk management is literally about spotting the cracks in the bridge before it collapses. It's identifying issues early on so they do not derail the whole project. And it's also really important to note what isn't in this specific bucket. For instance, negotiation is incredibly important for a BA, but it's an interpersonal skill, not an analytical one. This analytical foundation is all about data, logic, and methodical evaluation. And when we talk about problem solving, we aren't just throwing around a buzzword. It is a highly methodical process. A BA approaches challenges by first identifying the core issues or inefficiencies. Second, they analyze the options based on feasibility and impact. Third, they develop practical solutions. Fourth, they collaborate to implement those changes. And finally, they monitor the results so they can make necessary adjustments. It's this exact 5-step approach that turns raw critical thinking into a driving force for project success.
All right, part 3, interpersonal skills, the connection.
If analytical skills are the concrete foundation, interpersonal skills are the suspension cables. They provide the tension and the balance. Because a BA frequently interacts with all sorts of diverse stakeholders, this toolkit is pretty vast. It includes communication, negotiation, documentation, project coordination, and adaptability. And I really want to emphasize documentation for a second here. Communication isn't just about chatting in meetings. It is equally about crystal clear written documentation. Creating accurate requirement specifications, process models, and user stories is absolutely vital to ensure that every single stakeholder is totally aligned on the project goals and scope.
So, the crucial point here is that these interpersonal skills are essentially a form of risk mitigation. Effective communication ensures everyone is on the same page. Managing conflicts, negotiating between stakeholders who might have completely conflicting interests, and building consensus, this is exactly what keeps the project from falling apart when the business environment evolves or when priorities inevitably change.
Which brings us to part 4, technical and industry knowledge.
Okay, so we have our foundation, we have our suspension cables, and now we just need our final construction materials. Let me tell you, this next bit is a huge relief for so many career transitioners. As a business analyst, you generally do not need to write code. You really don't need to be the next Mark Zuckerberg here. You just need to understand technical concepts well enough to know if a proposed solution is actually feasible. The entire goal of having technology skills, whether that's understanding databases or knowing analytical tools, is to ensure you can effectively collaborate with IT teams. You are assessing possibilities, not programming them.
Alongside that technical feasibility, a BA relies heavily on two specific areas of knowledge. First, industry knowledge. This ensures your solutions actually fit your specific market's regulations and trends. Process modeling, on the other hand, gives everyone a literal visual map to analyze how workflows happen and to easily spot any bottlenecks. Finally, Section 5, solving real-world business problems. Now, theory is great and all, but application is where the real value lies. Let's move from theory directly into the real world and see how these three skill sets combine in actionable scenarios.
Let's look at our first scenario. We have a retail company and they are losing money. Their old inventory system is completely failing them, which is leading to empty shelves on one hand and then a massive overstock of unwanted goods on the other. It's a mess. The BA is brought in to upgrade this system.
To solve this retail crisis, the BA walks through a specific timeline. First, they're going to rely on their interpersonal and analytical skills to interview the store managers and the warehouse staff to gather insights. Second, they use their analytical and technical skills to translate those insights into functional requirements for the software developers. And finally, blending technical and analytical precision, the BA oversees the system testing. They do this to ensure the new inventory software smoothly resolves those original stockout and overstock issues.
Let's check out a second scenario. A tech company is facing severe delays and miscommunication in delivering data analytics projects. I really want to highlight this one because it is the absolute perfect example for a data scientist who is looking to transition into project management or a BA role. You already know the data, now you are managing the entire delivery process. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how the BA skill sets harmonize. To fix these project delays, you basically need 3 equal slices of the pie. You use your analytical skills to analyze the project data and pinpoint exactly where those workflow bottlenecks are happening. Then, you use your interpersonal skills to interview your fellow data scientists and project managers, negotiating to align everyone on the timelines. And finally, you use your technical skills, your existing understanding of data analytics tools, to translate the team's needs into technical requirements that IT can seamlessly implement. It's just a perfect, balanced application of the entire toolkit.
So, we've seen how the analytical foundation, the interpersonal connections, and the technical knowledge all come together to seamlessly translate business needs into successful solutions. You've seen the blueprints today. So, considering your own background and expertise, whether you're in data science, retail, or IT, what business gap are you uniquely positioned to bridge today?